Yes. This is...
Good. Okay. There's no turning back now. Spray booth off, phones off, let's go. Sound is recording. All three cameras are now recording. Here we go, boys and girls. This is going to be fun tonight. You know why? Because this is the best hobby in the world. Mm-hmm. I love this hobby. It is just rich, full of people that I love. Okay, kumbaya, guys. Somebody give Stephen Priest a countdown, and let's have a good time tonight, boys.
3, 2, 1.
This is the What's Neat This Week podcast 53. Not to disappoint, I've got some of the overachievers in the room. I love these guys. I got Joshua Barton. I got everybody that I love here tonight. Plus, we got a full studio audience. We love this show, number 53.
Yeah.
Let's go, guys. The What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you. Additional support is provided by Athearn Trains. Check out all their new monthly announcements at athearn.com. And by Bachmann Trains. Now that's the way to run a railroad. Check out their website at bachmanntrains.com. Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast.
Good evening. This is What's Neat This Week, podcast number 53 for October 20th of 2018. My name is Stephen Priest. I'm the editor of Railroad Model Craftsman magazine. I'm also married to this lovely gal right here, Cinthia Priest, who is the editor of...
Connor?
I didn't get a clap.
Connor? Come on,
clap
Connor.
For me. Look at that.
Sweet. Thank you.
Oh, those are for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought they were probably for me.
I could try. Here. Thank you.
What a nice guy.
We love you guys. You all have done more for this hobby and this industry than I could say in this entire podcast. Stephen and Cinthia, between the publishing of all the magnificent books that they have done that lay out the history of all of the railroads that we love to model, it makes it so much easier when these folks do that for us. Not to mention the amazing transformation that we have seen Railroad Model Craftsman make in the last X amount of years since Stephen has taken over as editor. It's one of those books that when I go to the grocery store or Walmart at 3 o'clock in the morning and I open it up and I see George Bogatek in the first ad right there for Soundtracks, it's like, this is the publication that Steve makes. Glossy paper, first-class colors, and a lot of photographs. More photographs than I generally see on any one given model railroad article. Definitely past 8. So thank you so much for your contribution that you've made to this wonderful hobby that we all love.
Thank you, buddy. We appreciate it. We love what you do as well.
So we've got you here tonight, guys. Tell us about your life and what you're doing.
Oh, my gosh. How much time do we have, Ken?
We got all night, brother.
All right. Well, do you want to I'll let my lovely wife start, because
Okay.
that's what gentlemen would do.
And you can give the flowers. Put them on the corner over there if you want.
All right, thank you. About our life in general or our model railroad life?
You know what I really want to know? I really want to know where this passion that you have developed has come from. It's beautiful.
Well, it all started when my husband invited me to rail fan with him. I just met
One
him.
husband at that time.
Yeah, I just met him at college, and I was like, what is a rail fan? And I was, dropped in the deep end, and boy, did I swim. So I won modeling contests, and I really enjoy how inclusionary model railroading can be. It allows you to do whatever you want, whatever you're interested in. And what's awesome is that nobody can be perfect at everything in the hobby. So it forces you to get with other people that have similar interests, and together you can create awesome magazines, layouts. You can restore historic pieces of equipment, because when a bunch of you get together with a similar goal or a similar interest, man, just look out, because anything can be done.
Creative juices flow, don't they?
Like a video podcast?
Yeah, let's think about doing one of those.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
You forgot to tell me an important part. 30 years ago, November, Cinthia won the Young Author Contest in Model Rarity magazine.
That's right.
So
I remember that.
Yeah,
30
so we're
years.
actually celebrating that this year. That was November of 1988, and that was amazing. That's one of the reasons I fell in love with her, because she embraced things so incredibly. And I knew I'd end up spending my life with her because of the fact that we were just kind of kindred spirits. You know what that means, Ken? Kindred spirits?
I looked that up about 3 weeks ago. Yes, I did, in fact. Thank you very much for bringing that up.
Well, there's an example of it right here.
Soulmates.
Hey, buddy. And where did all our live studio audience go? You guys need to get in here so we can have a lot of this. I love it when that happens.
They're playing with trains.
Trains? There's trains in this house?
Nonsense.
No, I don't know anything about trains.
Well, we'll teach you a little bit
Your
about
name
it.
is Steven, right? It's Steven?
It is, Steven.
Steven.
Yeah,
God,
Steven.
Steven, you know what? You wear me out, man. Now, who do we know that says that? I love you, Lionel Strang. Hi, Lionel. I'll tell you what, we didn't cover new news tonight, and I do want to talk about something exciting that our wonderful friends up in Canada at Rapido Trains, you know, Jason and all the boys, my brother from England, I love you. They came out this week with a video on YouTube discussing and showing off their brand new HO scale RDC ATSF set. Now, this is a set from the 60s that I know Steve knows a lot about.
Well, actually, Ken, I don't want to correct you, but it's actually from the 50s.
Okay.
So we'll go, and you should know that because your house is in a beautiful 1950s design, which I love.
This hair is blonde.
Well, these are RDC-1. There were two of them that the Santa Fe purchased. They were built in 1952, and originally they ran south to San Diego, from Los Angeles to San Diego. They were involved in a few wrecks, but there was a pretty major wreck in 1956 that unfortunately killed 30 people. With that, they took them back to Topeka. They sat around for a while, and they rebuilt them. And with a really interesting kind of a non-war bonnet scheme, but they were red with a yellow nose herald and a gyrolight on the nose, horizontally mounted gyrolight, which Jason's done an incredible job of reproducing, which he does, because that's the guy. He knows what he's doing. And they ran between Newton, Kansas and Dodge City until 1965 when they were retired.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, they were cool.
You're hired. Give him a raise. I want him. I want him on the show. I want you, Steven.
Well, we'll talk afterwards.
You know what else we did after those flowers? We all got mixed up, just like I did during the teddy bears in number 51, and I lost my place on the script really bad. We've also got with us Michael Budde, who's been on vacation for 2 weeks. He went down to Panama City to enjoy Hurricane Michael. Evidently, he got evacuated on the first day of the trip. Mike, tell us about that.
Oh, well, it was quite an experience. I'd never been through anything like that before, but yeah, I really feel sorry for all the people down there that have been affected by this. It's really pretty bad. It's something it's kind of emotional, actually.
Yeah.
But last Saturday I recovered by going to the Foo Fighters.
You know, one of the bad things about that hurricane is it was really hard on the Digitrax factory. They took a major hit, and their production's going to be down. But in talking with them a little bit, they've said that they will definitely recoup, bounce back. And so, you know, but a lot of their employees, unfortunately, lost their homes and things. So we need to be thinking about those guys down there and you know, support them product-wise, because they're going to need a little bit of love, a little bit of schmoozing to get back up to speed.
You know, Digitrax's building took a hit down there, and the damage was, you know, I don't even know when they're going to get electric down there again, but we want our friends, our family at Digitrax to know that we're all thinking about them.
Yep, you bet.
Because, you know, we love what it is that they've done for us, for the industry, too. You can't leave them out. We love you guys.
That's right.
Yep, you bet.
I know how bad I wanted to go down there. Now, we had John Abaticola on Skype a little while ago. We were just kind of doing a little banter back and forth, and he told me about a brand new video that he's introduced on his website. You know, that's TSG Multimedia over there on YouTube. It was the remote Nevada locomotive called the Nevada Northern Railroad. I'm not really familiar with it, but I know there's a lot of great steam footage in this video. We looked at it tonight, so check it out on John's website. I love you, John, man. We love doing shows with you, John, because it's so easy to work with you because you know how to do what we do. So thanks you very much. Hats off to John Abaticola and his lovely wife, Sydney, out in Southern California.
Hi, John.
We love you guys.
Yeah.
How about that? Now, we've got some beautiful models on the table tonight, and Mike, buddy, you brought something that you want to talk about here?
frame flat. I've been working on several of these 89-foot flats that are equipped for hauling auto frames. And it's just a basic flat car from either Accurail or Athearn, whichever one you want to use. The frames are JJM products, the auto frames from a long time ago, in the 80s sometimes. But you can look at the B-roll. He'll probably show here a little jig I made for stacking the frames and the materials I used to tie them down. But there's a guy on Facebook now, I think his name is Sean Steele, that's making these things, making jigs just like I did, and parts for the frame loads too. So it would probably be a lot easier to use his kits.
You know what I love about you and your model work?
What?
Is the fact that I get to see how these things look assembled. Because I have them laying around in boxes all over my house,
right.
and I love coming and just seeing what the stuff looks like put together. So thanks, man. I love it. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's absolutely fantastic, Steve. I'm so glad that you're here tonight. Now, there's one article that I saw in Railroad Model Craftsman that really kind of, got my interest this weekend when I saw it. Late issue. I know I've got it in my collection, but this was a November in 2015 issue where you covered and talked about that magnificent museum out in Greeley, Colorado, otherwise known as the Colorado Model Railroad Museum.
Yeah, you bet.
Tell me about that issue. Did you do the photo shoot? Elaborate about how much fun and how difficult it was to shoot that layout.
Actually, I didn't do the photo shoot. That was a contract that was shot by other people, but I will tell you what I got the joy of doing, and that is, like we always do, I got to do the layout drawing. And the nice thing about doing the layout drawings is you really get to learn about the railroads, because you literally create every turnout, every tree, every structure. And so you really get intimate with the layout, if that's possible to use the word intimate with model railroad stuff.
Absolutely.
But I really enjoyed doing it. And it's a huge railroad, and it's so well done, and it flows so freely, as you know, because you were just out there. So, yeah, I loved it. It was amazing. So enjoyed doing the article. And also, those people are extremely motivated about model railroading, and they're really pushing the limits and pushing the hobby, which is what we need to do, promote it to everyone around. And so I enjoyed working with them and hope to work with them again in the future.
Absolutely.
You bet.
I want to thank Bachmann Industries out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, for sponsoring the What's Neat This Week podcast. I'm waiting for a box that didn't quite arrive with the new products that we're going to start lining up for the show for the next X amount of shows, which we're trying to keep up with it all the time. But the fact is, what I've got on the table tonight over to the side here, Mitchell, as you see, is this beautiful locomotive cradle stand. Now, I modified it a little bit by adding a piece of wood to the bottom as a base, but it still cantilevers back and forth as you turn the gear so that you can adjust the locomotive upside down in the cradle to repair it and oil it and otherwise change your Katy couplers. I also built a wooden box for this. It's a really neat thing the way it's set up, but check it out. This is a really great locomotive stand, and we've got a lot more products that we're going to feature from Bachmann. What a great quality company. The craftsmanship, the best of the best. And I can't wait to do that White House Christmas tree segment. That's going to be fun, guys.
Yeah, wow.
We also want to thank Athearn for sponsoring the What's Neat This Week podcast. We love you, Chris Palomares. We're sorry you can't be with us tonight. But we've got some gorgeous GP7 and 9 locomotives that are brand new on the website. If you check out the Athearn website at athearntrains.com online, this is right there in the top stories and news section of the locomotives. We've got some Penn Centrals on the table here, A and B units. And if you look, these are in the, I want to call it the Rust series, the series where the engines are weathered already. You can see the graphics on these. I'll shoot some outdoor photos. We also have some gorgeous Union Pacific engines, Cinthia, that I'm sure you're very familiar with since you did that UP book.
Yes.
What are those? Are those GP9s or 7s right there in UP?
Those are, I believe they're GP9s.
They are.
And they have the extra louvers for the air aspiration on the. It's some experimental stuff that UP was always messing with their locomotives, trying to make them get better cost efficiencies and extra mileage, so that they didn't have to buy new all the time. They can make the things that they've already invested in last as long as possible. And believe me, I've seen them wear those locomotives out at Tower 55, running Notch 8, pulling a sand train with one SD40-2. And believe me, that makes an incredible sound.
Wow.
These engines, by the way, would eventually lead to the Jeep 20. Just to let you know, the experiments,
the experiments.
Elliott turbochargers, and some other things. So this is kind of the preamble for the Jeep 20s.
Man, thank you, Athearn, for the magic that you guys make for us. This
They're
is
awesome.
just the sprinkles on the ice cream cone,
That's
guys.
awesome. Absolutely
This is the
awesome.
best hobby in the world, and this is the best time to be in this hobby. I don't know how else to state it. How lucky are we? And that's why this is a happy, happy show, guys. I love it. Cinthia, your expertise. Just can we keep both of them? I want them both.
Well, you have to feed us.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah.
I love you guys. Well, now, the reason I alluded to the fact that we discussed this Colorado article that you had in the November 2015 issue of Railroad Model Craftsman, Stephen, is the fact that I had the absolute honor and pleasure to spend 2 days out in Greeley this week. I just got in this morning at about, I don't know, I left at 3 or something like that. But here we are, ready to go. And the fact is, I was blown away. You would expect that me being in the industry as long as I've got, nothing's going to surprise me. I was blown away at the fact that one example that we talk about in an interview that we did out at the layout out there was the way they have a 3-page documented flight checklist for just maintaining and cleaning the layout right before you start running it. And I mean, these gentlemen, when I was there at 9 o'clock in the morning on Friday, these guys were ready to rock and roll. I mean, they had 7 or 8 different track cleaning cars running on this entire 5,500 square foot layout.
Wow.
They've got like 21 miles of track.
Wow.
There is so much great stuff that's going to come from this. The efforts of Michelle Kempema and the wonderful board that she works with that runs this operation is first class, guys. This is something that all the other, folks that are in this industry look to see how they run it. This is done right. I met some of the gentlemen on the board, Stephen Leewald, and I also met Michael Fitzsimmons. And both of these gentlemen were very astute, very smart guys. And if the rest of the board is made up with guys like this, and I imagine it is, Michelle's got a great team for running that museum out there and the expansion plans on it. We've brought in some of the best people that I know to help her with that project. Y'all will remember Rand Hood, that wonderful gentleman.
Yes.
Yep, Rand Hood,
We're
sure.
bringing him back on the show, I think, November,
Great.
the 3rd week of November. And he's a museum designer for a living. Him and his wonderful wife work together as a team, and they're going to meet out there in Greeley and come up with some really cool renderings and designs for this.
Wow.
This is going to be the shining star, a centerpiece in Colorado. It'll seriously be a draw.
Sure.
I mean, it's going to be.
I mean, it already is, but yeah.
They might as well put in high-speed rail between Caboose and Lakewood,
There you
Colorado,
go.
Yeah.
and the museum up in Greeley. The easements are already there for the tracks. I mean, it's great. I shot so much great stuff. And Daniel, I know you're down here somewhere. Daniel, they've got a Daniel in the club. He was running trains on Friday, and once we started talking about it, everybody in the club was calling him Daniel. And I cannot call it a club. I'm sorry, it's a museum. This is not a club. It's a museum, very organized with regards to keeping track of all the people in the club and their assignments and what they're supposed to do. If you're there X amount of months and you've done so many hours, you wear one color shirt. And then as you experience grows, your shirt color changes. I mean, this is so well thought out. I mean, when I ran the Midwest Valley Modelers layout, I didn't want to run it like a club because that's disorganizational, and I couldn't have a first-class presentation that way.
Right,
And
right.
they do it the same way. I'm absolutely blown away with that. But yeah, Thomas Gaither, shout out to you. You're our Daniel out there in Greeley, Colorado. We love you, brother. I hope
Yeah.
your mother doesn't sue me for the B-roll I'm running right now, Mom. Something else I want to talk about was Brent Mailata. Did I get it right?
I think so.
Brent Mailata was running the dispatcher's table on this layout, an absolutely gorgeous, is that what they call it?
CTC panel.
CTC
Yep.
panel. Thank you very much, Stephen. It was absolutely
That's what I do.
beautiful. This guy really knew his stuff, and he was controlling the entire layout. There's not a train that moves on that layout without permission.
Right.
It is serious operation. That's why I mostly ran around. Most of my time I felt like I was flying around the place. I interviewed a few people. We had a lot of people tell us that they saw the show. I gave people money who had come there and paid. Don't tell Michelle I did that, but I had to take care of them. I said I would. We did that. We had so much fun out there. Now, we also interviewed Daryl Ellis, who did a fire scene. Politically incorrect or not, it was so well done. It had multiple sleuth smoke units on it running a PVC pipe. It was amazing, and
Wow.
he conducted a great interview with me. And also the final cherry on the cake to finish out the entire thing is what I'm running in the December issue of Model Railroad Craftsman. What I'm running from What's Neat over at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine. I got a magnificent interview at 9:30 at night last night at the museum. Michelle and I did it. We had 2 cameras running from multiple high positions in the location. great production values, best interview we ever did. And I mean, Michelle knows her stuff. I am so impressed. Thank you, Michelle, for working so hard for us.
Yeah.
And we look forward to having you on the show November 3rd.
You bet. Hey, Ken, I got a quick question for you.
Rock and roll.
Did you get a shirt? And if so, what color was it?
I didn't get a shirt. What I'm more interested in doing is helping that museum raise millions of dollars for the expansion. Now, that's something that I wasn't prepared to talk about tonight, but this isn't a goal that I think is out of reach. I mean, you got to figure they've got very astute people working on their end. I know a lot of very people that I could work with, and I would be very happy to help them toward that goal. We've got an international, worldwide audience on this. This is our hobby, and that museum is our museum.
Yep.
So it's something that we could all consider. I mean, if it's $1 or if it's $1 million, and if you give a donation of say $10,000, I will meet you at the museum and we can present the check, and we will, unless you want to remain anonymous, I'd be more than happy to film this and make this part of what we're going to share with the rest of the world on how we can build this as being a great thing. And I realize there's a lot of other magnificent clubs, Pasadena, I mean,
Sure.
all these great clubs around the world, but at this point, you know how I am. I get focused on something. I'm on this one right now, and we're going to go to the other ones as time passes.
That's right.
Let's make this one fly and bloom, because this has got the potential between what we're working out with Caboose, different ideas that we've got. I mean, worldwide attention. This is going to be great. I look forward to it. This is the best hobby in the world, guys.
Amen, man. You're right.
Yeah.
So I don't know where to go after that. I do know that we have a special guest.
Yes.
We have a
Great.
special guest tonight, Drayton Blackgrove. He
Right.
came all the way from Jackson, Michigan. Drayton, can you switch out with Mike, buddy, here and tell us about this beautiful fake Genesee, Wyoming? Is that what you call it, fake? Or
It's a fantasy railroad.
Fantasy Railroad. Brother, these models look absolutely magnificent.
Don't they, though?
They are
They do.
tricked
Yeah.
out with lots of little details that I don't know what they are, but they sure look cool.
So I've always been a big fan of the Genesee and Wyoming paint scheme. I don't know what it is, the orange, the yellow, there's just something about it. And I've always been a big fan of GP30s. My great-grandfather worked for the Southern Railway. I actually have some pictures of my great-grandfather with the 2570. So my story is there was a short line that bought a bunch of ex-Southern power, and they run on the BNSF Drayton subdivision, which is a real railroad. Runs from Grand Forks to North Dakota to Drayton, North Dakota, and that's where my short line is. So long story short, G&W came in, took them over, and some of the locomotives have been repainted. One of my favorite things, though, and kind of like what you were saying earlier about how, like, in the hobby we can't always be good at everything. It's very true. So here today in the audience is Justin Sobek from Cedar Summit Customs. He does the custom painting. And then also Matthew Welk from Circus City Decals. He helped me basically create my own version of the G&W logo. And then the LED lighting and sound was done by Arthur Bradley from Bradley DCC Custom Models. The two cabooses you see here are from Rapido, the former CP Angus vans. And the MM&A Railroad, I think they're a very unique short line, and they actually use some of their Angus vans as RCO shoving platforms. So they can essentially turn any locomotive into a remote control locomotive. So these cabooses have Soundtrack's Tsunami Sound Car in them. They've got RCO lights. You can see some of the antennas on there, horn and a bell. And the AC units, I got the idea from the AC units from Montana Rail Link. They actually use shoving platforms on a lot of their yard jobs and RCO cabooses. So the AC is not for the crew. It's to cool down all of the computer equipment in there that they use for the RCO. So you'll be able to see those. And then here, the Scale Train C39 just came out a couple of months ago.
Awesome locomotives, by the way.
I love
Absolutely
those.
awesome.
We love Shane Wilson out there at scaletrains.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say that personally, this locomotive is probably the best quality locomotive that I've bought out of the box.
Wow.
My
Yes,
first
sir.
Scale Trains locomotive was their Admiral Cab SD40-2. Love what they did. The lighting was a little dim on those to me. This, with their later models, Scale Trains, they've been figuring things out as they go. And out of the box, the only thing I had to change besides the weathering and the decals and all that I just had to change the road number through JRMI, and then and that was basically it. The lighting is perfect. Wow. So if you like really bright LEDs, they are comparable to the brightest LEDs that you can get on the aftermarket. So really happy to have these models. Really happy to have all the people that have helped me create this and this crazy idea that I had. But there are a lot of people that are starting to model G&W, and if people want to see more videos of these locomotives, I don't have a layout. I've been fortunate to be a member of the Lansing Model Railroad Club. It's the Capital City Model Railroad Club in Lansing, Michigan. So if you want to see some of the videos that I take of these locomotives, I have a YouTube channel. It's Delay In Block Productions. I do a lot of stuff with real railroads, but starting to get into the models too.
So you got some prototype footage I might be able to do some roll-on for the What's Neat show, do you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to see your work. I can't wait to see
absolutely.
prototype footage. I love that. I want to say that NCE, I'm not going to say I'm sold, but I am. We don't have anything really set up tonight. That demonstration last week got a lot of great comments and readers' comments. And I think Joshua discovered something for the very first time that he got excited about.
I have a package coming. I can't wait.
So Joshua bought the radio system, the antenna, and the RB06 throttle so he can make his power cab remote control running through his office layout.
Awesome
so that's
stuff.
really
Awesome.
good.
Awesome
And we've got
stuff.
something really neat coming up for NCE that's going to get that company absolute worldwide attention. I don't want to allude to it, but I tell you what, you guys know that I never make up anything, and if I say it, it's true. This is going to be big. This is going to put NCE on the map worldwide, and I can't wait for it to happen. So hang on tight for this ride, guys. Jim, I know you're listening out there. Wait till I call you Monday, brother. I got this one all figured out. So with that, I've just about everything on my notes. Joshua, you haven't talked a lot. Tell me what's going on, brother.
Work, and more work.
That's not what this is. A happy show.
I like my job.
But his work deals with food, he was telling me.
That's
So,
right.
that's happy right there.
It is, but
I
it's
love
a
it.
lot of work. So
I love it, just
Yeah.
like it says up there in the corner. I love it.
That's right.
You know something I forgot to talk about here on the layout? I've got the Oregon, California, and Eastern Railroad freight cars right here. And these are box cars that are, in fact, the railroad that they run at the Colorado Model Railroad Museum. So, and another thing cool, and I'm rolling B-roll of this right now because I enjoyed the gorgeous warm weather out there while I shot the actual prototype car right out back. Wow. And there's going to be a whole bunch of these coming from Athearn, and these are going to be available for everybody in 3 different road numbers. I think they worked that out this week. So look forward to that. We're going to weather a couple of these and put these on eBay, and I'm going to take all the proceeds and donate it to the museum. So I look forward to that.
Fantastic.
That's the best I can do. I'm not a millionaire, but if I was, I'd give you 2. Rock and roll.
There you go. There you
Stephen,
go.
now tell me something else, guys, because we're at 26 minutes. We got about 4 minutes to go. It's all yours, brother. Just tell us how great your life is.
Life's good. We're doing a lot of production work for model railroad companies. I don't know if you're aware of that. We do a lot of design work for companies. There's actually a company we're going to start working with out of Israel, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Wow.
They're going to have a product that's going to blow your socks off, and I'll be sharing a little bit of that with you down the road.
That's why you watch the show, to
Excellent.
hear it here first.
Yeah, exactly. Neat stuff. So, also, we need to get you over sometime to our place to take a look at the railroad and take a look at our NCE system. We have a huge system.
Oh, you use it.
We have a 3,400 square foot railroad, and
Wow.
we have 25 cabs that we use.
Really?
And it runs like a top, and we love it. And so, Jim, who's also a friend, of course, thank you very much for an awesome system. It is flawless. It runs perfectly. We've got several RB1 remotes mounted on the ceiling around the room, and we can run with 15 or 20 people with no problem, and that's almost unheard of for radio
great.
throttles. So it's absolutely awesome.
I love talking to that guy on the phone. Jim has got such a magnificent mind, and I just love climbing into it and finding out what I can find in there. If you want to really climb into his head and find out how he thinks, I think like podcast number 11 or 12 or somewhere very early in Lionel Strang's podcasts over there at A Modeler's Life.
Right?
I listened to that interview, and that's when I first really wanted to meet him because he was brilliant.
Yeah. Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
He's brilliant.
Quiet and brilliant. Yeah.
Quiet, but yes.
Yeah, quiet and
I
brilliant.
love it, baby. Nitrous oxide kicks in, the race is over, and you don't even know what happened. I love it when that happens. Cinthia, tell me how great it is to sit here on the show. Anything else you want to close it out or say?
Well, I can just say that being involved with model railroaders is always an adventure. you find eclectic things that people are interested in, such as swords and masks and stained glass windows and dragons that I've seen here this evening that I still haven't quite figured out how it all ties in, but somehow Ken makes it work because that's just the Ken that I know. I just love how I get to talk to so many people who have so many different interests, and they get to share it with people through podcasts, through articles, through conventions and get-togethers and club layouts and museums, and the opportunities in this hobby are truly endless on how you can cooperate with other people. You can share your ideas. I love that paint scheme. I love fantasy that really looks authentic, and you did an awesome job on that.
Yeah,
and
yes,
I also,
thank you for coming.
I also
here.
really like GP30s.
Yeah, me
Good
too.
job,
They're
Drayton.
awesome.
If you've got Cynthia's approval, brother, you're in the family, man, and that's how it ought to be. I want to say one thing about the podcast that we did, number 51, Joshua, and that's when we talked about that wonderful gentleman that sent us that, I can't remember his name right offhand, but he sent us that image with the Brotherhood of Model Railroading written under it. Now, how could I have said that? Brotherhood of Model Railroading, and Michelle Kempelman is right there on the screen. Can you say... So, I think we need to change that word, and he's working on that. As soon as he heard that, literally, as soon as the podcast was uploaded Monday morning, he emailed me and said, I'm changing that. I didn't like that. The girl sitting right there, I didn't like that. I was like, yeah, he's on board. So I can't wait to find out what comes up next with that.
Great, me neither.
I know. Where'd Mike go? He's gone? Mike is gone. So, you know what? It might be time to close it out. We are at 29:45.
Hey, look, Walker Emery showed up.
Oh my God! Hey, Walker Embry, we love you, guy. I think we're gonna close this one out, guys. Give me a rolling roll of applause. Yeah. Thank you very much, Stephen Priest, Cinthia Priest. We love you guys. Joshua Barton, Austin Allard on camera 1, Mitchell on camera number 2, camera number 3, Ghost. This is the What's Neat This Week podcast, number 53. Over and out, guys. Let's go run some trains.
Yeah.